In a move that has sent shockwaves throughout the federal workforce, Elon Musk, serving as President Donald Trump's cost-cutting czar, has ordered federal employees to account for their accomplishments over the past week or face potential termination. The directive, communicated via social media and followed up with a mass email, has created chaos within government agencies, prompting confusion and fear among workers already grappling with widespread layoffs and budget cuts. On February 22, Musk took to his social media platform X to announce that federal employees would soon be asked to summarize their work achievements. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation, he stated, echoing the president's call for more aggressive cuts to government spending. This ultimatum arrived at a time when the Trump administration is under pressure to streamline operations and reduce workforce size, a task Musk has embraced with fervor. Within hours of Musk's announcement, employees received an email from the Office of Personnel Management instructing them to reply with 5 bullet points detailing their weekly accomplishments, with a deadline set for the following Monday at 11:59 p.m. However, the email lacked the explicit threat Musk had conveyed online, leading to further uncertainty among workers about the legitimacy of the directive. Some agencies, such as the State Department and the National Weather Service, advised employees not to comply with Musk's request, further complicating the situation. Labor union leaders swiftly condemned Musk's demands, labeling them as disrespectful and indicative of a broader disdain for federal employees. Everett Kelly, president of the American Federation of Government Employees, expressed outrage, stating, "It is cruel and disrespectful to hundreds of thousands of veterans who are wearing their second uniform in the civil service." He warned that the union would challenge any unlawful terminations resulting from this ultimatum. The fallout from Musk's directive is not merely bureaucratic, it reflects a significant shift in the culture of public service under the current administration. Musk's approach mirrors strategies he has employed in the corporate world, particularly during his controversial acquisition of X. By demanding rapid accountability from employees, he has fostered an environment of fear and uncertainty reminiscent of his tactics at the social media company. As federal employees grapple with the implications of Musk's directive, they are also contending with a broader trend of aggressive downsizing and restructuring within the government. In the first month of Trump's administration, thousands of government workers have been laid off or offered buyouts, with agencies across the board facing severe budget constraints. The exact number of employees affected remains unclear, but reports suggest that hundreds of thousands have already felt the impact of this restructuring. The perception of instability within the federal workforce is further compounded by Musk's recent public appearances, where he has portrayed himself as a chainsaw for bureaucracy, celebrating the dismantling of what he describes as a wasteful government. During a recent speech at the Conservative Political Action Conference, Musk waved a chainsaw and declared waste is pretty much everywhere, reinforcing his commitment to aggressive cost-cutting measures. The implications of Musk's ultimatum extend beyond individual job security. They represent a fundamental shift in how public service is viewed and managed in the United States. Critics argue that this approach undermines the critical functions of government agencies, jeopardizing the services they provide to citizens, especially vulnerable populations reliant on federal support. As the deadline for compliance approaches, federal workers are left in a state of anxiety, with many questioning their future in an administration that prioritizes rapid cuts over stability. The American public will be watching closely as this situation unfolds, particularly as it raises questions about the direction of federal employment and the essential services that depend on a committed and stable workforce. Looking ahead, the administration's focus on efficiency and cost reduction suggests that more drastic measures may be on the horizon. The response from the public and affected employees could shape the future of federal employment, potentially igniting larger conversations about the role of government and the value of public service in an increasingly tumultuous political landscape. In a bold and controversial move, federal workers in the United States have been thrust into a new era of accountability. As the Trump administration, backed by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency (DOGE), has mandated that employees document their weekly accomplishments or face the threat of resignation. This directive, communicated via an email sent on Saturday, has ignited a firestorm of responses from government employees and unions alike, raising critical questions about the future of federal employment and the administration's approach towards government efficiency. The email, which bore the subject line, "What did you do last week?" instructed employees to provide a summary of 5 key achievements from the previous week, explicitly excluding any classified information. Musk, who has assumed a pivotal role in leading the initiative aimed at slashing government spending, asserted on social media platform X that failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. This message, however, was met with immediate skepticism, as it lacked any explicit mention of resignation consequences in the email itself. The Office of Personnel Management (OPM), the federal government's HR agency, confirmed the email's authenticity, stating that it aligns with the administration's commitment to fostering an efficient and accountable workforce. Agencies will determine any next steps, OPM added, leaving the door open for various interpretations and responses from different departments. The fallout from this directive has been swift. The American Federation of Government Employees (AFGE), representing over 750,000 federal workers, condemned the email as cruel and disrespectful, vowing to challenge any unlawful terminations that might arise from this initiative. Union President Everett Kelly lambasted both Musk and the Trump administration, arguing that their actions reflect a profound disregard for the vital services federal employees provide. Adding to the complexity of the situation, some agency heads have pushed back against the OPM's request. Newly appointed FBI Director Kash Patel instructed his employees to pause any responses, asserting that the FBI would manage its review processes independently. The State Department echoed this sentiment, clarifying that its employees are not obligated to report their activities outside their direct chain of command. This disarray among federal agencies highlights a significant divide in the administration's strategy and the operational realities of federal governance. Trump's recent remarks at the Conservative Political Action Conference (CPAC) further emphasized his administration's stance on government reform. He criticized remote work arrangements for federal employees and reiterated a commitment to eliminating unnecessary, incompetent, and corrupt bureaucrats. The president expressed his approval of Musk's aggressive cuts, suggesting that the billionaire is doing a great job in reducing the size of the federal workforce, a sentiment that has resonated with a segment of the American population. Simultaneously, the concept of government efficiency is gaining traction in other states. In Florida, lawmakers are proposing the creation of their own Department of Government Efficiency, or FLOG, to streamline regulations and reduce bureaucratic red tape. Led by Republican Representative Tiffany Esposito, this initiative mirrors the federal DOGE efforts aiming to empower lawmakers with more control over administrative rules and to introduce automatic expiration dates for outdated regulations. While this proposal has garnered support, it faces scrutiny from opponents who question its timing and necessity given the Republican control over state governance for several years. As the situation unfolds, questions linger regarding the long-term impact of these initiatives on federal employment and public service. The administration's approach raises concerns about employee morale and the fundamental values underpinning public service. Observers are left to ponder whether the push for efficiency might inadvertently undermine the very services that citizens rely upon. In the coming weeks, as federal employees respond to the OPM's directive and legislative sessions commence in states like Florida, the ramifications of these changes will become clearer. The balance between efficiency and accountability will be tested, and the outcomes may well shape the future landscape of government employment in the United States. With Musk at the helm of DOGE and Trump advocating for further reforms, the push for a more streamlined government is likely to continue, leaving federal workers and their advocates bracing for the challenges ahead. In a significant development for the electric vehicle industry, Tesla has announced a recall of over 370,000 vehicles due to a potential power steering malfunction. The recall, which includes 376,241, 2023 Model 3 sedans and Model Y SUVs, stems from an issue where the loss of electronic power-assisted steering could occur, particularly during low-speed acceleration after coming to a stop. Such a malfunction necessitates greater steering effort, thereby increasing the risk of a crash. Tesla disclosed this information in a report submitted to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration (NHTSA). According to the company, the software-related problem affects vehicles running on operating software prior to version 2023.38.4. In response to this issue, Tesla began deploying an over-the-air software update in October 2023 aimed at preventing the printed circuit board responsible for the electronic power steering from being overstressed. As of January 23, 2025, approximately 99% of the affected vehicles in the U.S. had already installed this update. Mitigating the immediate risk. Despite the extensive recall, Tesla reported that it has not been made aware of any crashes, injuries, or fatalities linked to this steering issue. However, the NHTSA is continuing its investigation, which began in July 2023, focusing on reports of loss of steering control in the affected models. The agency has noted one crash associated with the investigation and more than 50 instances where vehicles needed to be towed due to the issue. In an interesting juxtaposition of events, the NHTSA recently laid off 4% of its workforce, a move that has raised eyebrows given the agency's ongoing investigations into Tesla's self-driving technology. This staffing reduction occurred amid scrutiny over whether Tesla's autonomous driving systems contributed to accidents, including an incident that resulted in a pedestrian fatality. The agency maintains that its core mission of ensuring traffic safety remains intact. Despite the recent layoffs, Elon Musk, Tesla's CEO, has been actively involved in discussions around governmental efficiency, which has led to broad staffing reductions across various federal agencies. This dynamic raises questions about the potential impact of such changes on the oversight of emerging technologies, particularly as Tesla focuses heavily on its self-driving capabilities to drive future growth. Tesla's push towards autonomous driving technology is critical not only for its product lineup but also for its stock valuation. Musk has previously claimed that developing safer self-driving technology is essential for maintaining Tesla's position as a leader in the automotive market. As sales of Tesla vehicles have shown signs of stagnation, the emphasis on autonomous technology could become increasingly pivotal. In conclusion, while Tesla's proactive approach in addressing the power steering issue highlights its commitment to vehicle safety, the broader implications of ongoing investigations and workforce changes at the NHTSA could influence the regulatory landscape for autonomous driving technologies. As developments unfold, stakeholders in the EV sector will be closely watching how these factors interact and shape the future of both Tesla and the industry at large. In a significant milestone for the burgeoning field of commercial spaceflight, SpaceX has successfully launched its 8,000th Starlink satellite, a feat accomplished with the recent deployment of the Starlink 15-1 mission from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. The Falcon 9 rocket lifted off on February 22, 2025 at 5:38 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, sending 22 Starlink V2 mini satellites into low Earth orbit. This launch not only showcases SpaceX's continued commitment to expanding its satellite internet network but also marks a key moment in the evolution of satellite technology and its implications for global connectivity. The Falcon 9 rocket utilized a first-stage booster designated B-1082, which has now completed its 11th flight. This booster has played a pivotal role in various missions, including launches for the United States Space Force and several previous batches of Starlink satellites. Approximately 8 minutes after liftoff, B-1082 successfully landed on the drone ship Of Course I Still Love You, marking another achievement in SpaceX's ongoing efforts to refine and economize its launch operations. With this mission, SpaceX has now completed its 412th booster landing to date, underscoring the company's achievement in reusability and cost-effective space exploration. As of the mission's completion, SpaceX reported that 376 Starlink satellites have been launched in 2025 alone, contributing to a total of over 8,000 satellites placed into orbit since the program's inception. According to renowned astrophysicist and satellite tracker Jonathan McDowell, there are currently 7,078 Starlink satellites remaining in orbit. with an operational fleet that is critical for providing internet service to underserved regions globally. The satellites from this latest mission were deployed at a 70-degree inclination, a strategic move that enhances coverage and connectivity options. In addition to the Starlink satellites, the recent launches have attracted attention due to their potential military applications. SpaceX's collaboration with the National Reconnaissance Office (NRO) has involved launching satellites believed to be part of the government's Starshield program, a counterpart to the commercial Starlink service. This dual-use technology highlights the growing intersection of commercial and military space operations, raising questions about regulation oversight and the future of security in space. However, the company is not without its challenges. In a separate development, the U.S. Department of Justice recently filed a motion to dismiss a lawsuit accusing SpaceX of discriminating against immigrant job applicants. The lawsuit, originally filed in August 2023, alleged that the company discouraged asylees and refugees from applying for positions, a claim that SpaceX's CEO Elon Musk vehemently denied, asserting that the company was adhering to export laws. The DOJ's motion to end the pause on the case signifies a shift in the federal government's approach to enforcing workplace equality. As SpaceX continues to expand its Starlink constellation, it remains to be seen how these developments will influence both the commercial satellite industry and the regulatory landscape governing space operations. With additional launches planned, including the maiden flight of a new Falcon 9 booster on February 24, the pace of innovation and expansion in satellite technology is set to accelerate, promising even greater connectivity and accessibility in the near future. As we look ahead, the implications of these advancements will undoubtedly shape the landscape of global communications and the role of private companies in space exploration. In a move reminiscent of his controversial management style at Twitter, Elon Musk has initiated a dramatic shakeup within the federal workforce, demanding that employees summarize their weekly accomplishments or face termination. This ultimatum has sent shockwaves throughout various government agencies, prompting confusion and concern among civil servants who are already grappling with recent layoffs and instability. Musk's directive, communicated through a post on X, formerly Twitter, was soon followed by an email from the Office of Personnel Management (OPM) bearing the unsettling subject line, "What did you do last week?" This email instructed federal employees to respond with a bullet-point summary of their achievements by the following Monday, explicitly noting that failure to comply would be interpreted as a resignation. While the email did not explicitly state the threat of dismissal, Musk's social media post left little doubt about the seriousness of the situation. The announcement came as President Trump, who has been vocally supportive of Musk's strategies, encouraged him to take even bolder actions. In a post on his own social media platform, Trump praised Musk's efforts to disrupt the bureaucratic norms of federal employment and urged for a more aggressive approach. Musk replied, asserting that his actions were in alignment with the president's calls for efficiency, stating that the task was simple enough to complete in under 5 minutes. However, the response from federal agencies was mixed. While some officials like Ed Martin, the interim U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., expressed support for Musk's initiative, others, including newly appointed FBI Director Kash Patel, advised employees to pause their responses until further notice. This inconsistency highlighted a growing atmosphere of uncertainty, with many employees feeling trapped between conflicting directives from agency leaders and Musk's overarching demands. The American Federation of Government Employees, the largest union representing federal workers, condemned Musk's approach as disrespectful and indicative of a broader disregard for civil service norms. Union President Everett Kelly criticized the billionaire for imposing undue pressure on employees who are already navigating a precarious work environment, arguing that it is cruel and disrespectful to require workers to justify their roles to someone who has never served in public office. Legal experts have raised alarms over the implications of Musk's demands, contending that there is no precedent in the civil service system for such a request and labeling it as an intimidation tactic. Sam Bajenstos, a law professor at the University of Michigan, stated that Musk's actions appear to be an attempt to erode protections for federal employees, banking on the courts to remain slow to respond. The repercussions of this ultimatum are likely to extend beyond immediate compliance. Workers across various agencies, including the FBI, State Department, and Environmental Protection Agency, expressed feelings of anxiety and fear regarding their job security. One employee at the National Institutes of Health described the email as terrorizing, reflecting a broader sentiment of distress among the workforce. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, facing significant staffing reductions, found itself in a particularly challenging position as many of its employees were on leave and unable to fulfill Musk's directive. Musk's approach mirrors tactics he employed during his takeover of Twitter, where he frequently demanded accountability from employees through direct inquiries about their productivity. This methodology was instrumental in his efforts to streamline operations at the social media giant, but it also sparked significant backlash and legal challenges. The parallels between Musk's management of Twitter and his current strategy with federal agencies raise concerns about the long-term viability of such an approach within the public sector. As the situation unfolds, the implications of Musk's actions will likely prompt continued scrutiny from both legal experts and labor unions, setting the stage for potential confrontations over employee rights and government efficiency. With Musk at the helm of the Department of Government Efficiency (DOGE), the future of the federal workforce remains uncertain and the potential for further upheaval looms large, as he continues to impose his vision on the federal government. It will be crucial for stakeholders to monitor how these changes will impact the structure and morale of the civil service in the months ahead. In a surprising turn of events, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration (FDA) has requested the reinstatement of several scientists who were recently terminated, including some who were involved in the review process of Elon Musk's controversial Neuralink device. This development raises questions about the agency's internal dynamics and its approach to overseeing innovative yet potentially risky medical technologies. The FDA's decision to reach out to the dismissed scientists comes amidst a backdrop of scrutiny regarding Musk's Neuralink, which aims to develop brain-computer interface technology. The firing of these scientists, who were responsible for assessing the safety and efficacy of Neuralink's devices, triggered concerns about the potential impacts on regulatory oversight. According to insiders, the scientists were let go due to alleged performance issues, but many have pointed to the intense scrutiny and public pressure surrounding Neuralink as a contributing factor to their departure. The FDA must ensure that its reviews are both rigorous and impartial, especially when it involves transformative technology like Neuralink, said a former agency official who wished to remain anonymous. Reinstating these scientists could signal an attempt to restore confidence in the review process. Additionally, the timing of the reinstatement request coincides with growing public and regulatory scrutiny of Neuralink's animal testing practices, which have faced allegations of cruelty and ethical violations. Reports surfaced detailing troubling accounts of the treatment of primates involved in Neuralink's research, leading advocacy groups to call for a thorough investigation. The treatment of these animals raises serious ethical questions that need to be addressed immediately, remarked a spokesperson from a leading animal rights organization. The FDA's oversight is crucial not only for Neuralink but for the wider field of neurotechnology. As innovations in brain-computer interfaces gain momentum, the regulatory framework that governs them will need to evolve. This situation serves as a litmus test for the FDA's commitment to maintaining rigorous scientific standards while also fostering innovation. The reinstatement of the scientists could potentially restore some balance to the FDA's oversight mechanism. Observers are keenly watching how this decision may influence the agency's future interactions with Neuralink and similar ventures. With the spotlight firmly on the ethical implications of neurotechnology, the FDA's actions in the coming months will be pivotal. As the story unfolds, the focus will remain on how the agency navigates the intersection of innovation, safety, and ethics. The future of Neuralink and its ambitious goals may hinge on both the resolution of these personnel issues and the broader public perception of the technology's implications for human health and welfare.